Hello, my name is Robert and I'm a docent at the Irving Arts Center. Welcome to the Dupree Theater lobby in the exhibition Lonesome Dove, the photographs of Bill Wittliff. This is an exhibition of 60 sepia tone photographs taken by Bill Wittliff, who was the writer and producer of the epic TV series. Lonesome Dove began as a movie screenplay for Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, and Henry Fonda by Larry McMurtry. The movie was never made, so Mr. McMurtry turned the idea into the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel that was published in 1985. The TV series premiered on CBS in 1989, and it was an instant hit, and many still consider it to be the best Western movie/TV show ever made. Now, these are personal photographs of the production by Mr. Whitliff took during the filming of the series. These photographs are portraits of the cast members and scenes from the show. The cast included Robert Duvall, Tommy Lee Jones, Diane Lane, Danny Glover, Robert Urich, Rick Schroeder, and Frederick Forrest. These photographs also document the trip that the cast and crew made from the Rio Grande River up to Montana. Now, being a Western, Lonesome Dove is, of course, about cowboys and Indians, especially two aging Texas Rangers played by Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones. This photograph, called Quirt, shows Tommy Lee Jones in his costume for the character Woodrow Call. I think one of the striking things about the photograph is the costume and the attention to detail. The producers, the director, and designers wanted to create costumes, sets, and props that show cowboys and their way of life as they really were. If we look at this photograph, I think it's interesting to look closely at the details. The hat, for example, is unique to Mr. Jones. He's the only one that wears this sort of black dome-shaped hat, and it makes him instantly recognizable. Then there's the bandana, the belt, the small whip that's called a quirt. These are all interesting details, and then the trousers and the chaps are sort of the finishing touches. To achieve this realism, the designers had two sources of inspiration: period photographs of real cowboys like this one, and Western art of the period. I think it's easy to see how this photograph might have influenced the costume design. Another source of inspiration was the cowboy artwork of the period. This photograph from the exhibit is called First Ride on the Hell Bitch and shows Woodrow Call breaking in a wild horse. It's a good example of the interesting and energetic quality of the photographs in the exhibit, and I just think it's kind of fun. As I mentioned earlier, Lonesome Dove has both cowboys and Indians. The conflict between the cowboys and the Plains Indians is an accurate depiction of the conflict between the two cultures, and it's an important part of the storyline of the show. And while the depiction of the conflict between the two is relatively accurate, the Indians do come off as the bad guys. The worst of them is a renegade Indian named Blue Duck who wishes he could kill off every white person he could get his hands on. He does kill several, and he also kidnaps the female lead in the story. But he does sort of have good reason for how he feels, because some white men raided his village and killed many of his family members. I personally wish the storyline of Lonesome Dove allowed a more positive and respectful depiction of the Plains Indian cultures, such as the Comanche, the Sioux, and the Kiowa. Some research currently being done is casting new light on how rich and complex the Plains Indian culture was. They were almost totally dependent on the vast herds of bison, or buffalo if you prefer, that filled the Great Plains of America. They followed the herds, and almost every element of the material culture was derived from the bison. I invite you to visit the Irving Arts Center, enjoy Lonesome Dove, the photographs of Bill Wittliff, and relive the excitement of the Wild West. It's in the Dupree Theater lobby through July 10th, 2021 at the Irving Arts Center. And while you're at the Arts Center, visit the other 4 galleries. I guarantee you it's worth the trip.